a city of history and fine arts. This is Salzburg. Located on the eastern side of Austria, Salzburg, while most notably known as the birthplace of Mozart, is rooted in rich culture and beauty. With stunning views of the Austrian Alps and the graceful Salzach River flowing through, this picturesque city is a must-visit for any trip to Central Europe. While Mozart holds the widely known foundation of the musical arts in Salzburg, we can't forget about the Hollywood classic, The Sound of Music. There are numerous filming locations across the city and beyond that so many visitors like us came here to see. With a couple of days to discover the city, we'll embark on some of its top attractions like the Hellbrunn Palace and the mighty Salzburg Fortress. Let's begin our first day at the marvelous Mirabell Gardens.
Good morning from the historic city of Salzburg. We are so excited to spend the next 2 days exploring everything the city has to offer, from the landmarks and historical sites to good food, hopefully. We are so excited, and right now we are starting off our day at the Mirabell Gardens.
The Mirabell Gardens are so beautiful and so perfectly groomed. I love the symmetry of it, not only with the pathways, but also the intricate lines of all the flowers here. And right beside the gardens is the Mirabell Palace. It was built in 1606 by the Prince Archbishop Wolf Dietrich for his beloved Salome Alt, and it also makes for the perfect wedding venue. A deer, a female deer, breathe a tropical song. Me, my name, I call myself, far along way to run. This is it. This is the steps where Maria and all the kids in Sound of Music start singing Do Re Mi as if each step were a note. It's such a beautiful spot with a gorgeous view of the fortress. Everything in the background is just so magical.
She literally made us watch Sound of Music yesterday just so she can catch up on all these landmarks in Salzburg. That was cute though. Okay, all jokes aside, this is actually kind of cool. This is the oldest dwarf garden in all of Europe. It's kind of funny seeing all the different facial expressions made by the artist, and these are actually auctioned off, all 28 of them, in 1811, and so far they have been able to retrieve most of them. But if you look around, you'll sometimes see these little stumps with nothing on it. That means those ones unfortunately were not retrieved. For a lot of people, the trick fountain is the main attraction out of the 3 things you can do here. Now, you do need to reserve a spot. While the palace and the museum, you can go in at your own leisure, you do have to reserve a specific time in order to go through the trick fountains. And that's something we definitely recommend when you guys first get here. Go to the ticket office, reserve your time spot for the trick fountains, and then afterwards go visit the palace and the museum like we are.
Oh, you got splashed a little bit.
So that's the definition of these trick fountains. When we're walking around, you have no idea where the spouts are gonna be. So out of nowhere, that deer, oh.
Yep, that's the whole point of the trick fountains. Expect the unexpected. You never know when you're gonna get splashed, and I got a little wet too.
We just finished up at the trick fountains, and I can totally understand why it's being done as a tour, because a lot of the little attractions such as the water fountains or the mechanical figurines is because someone actually needs to go and turn them on. So if you're not with your group at that time, you don't get the full experience. It took 50 minutes, which is longer than expected, and is also a lot cooler than expected. So right now we're just walking through the park before we head over to Hellbrunn Palace.
Walking into the Hellbrunn Palace, we didn't expect very much, and we thought it was going to be more like a regular museum, but it turns out to be a really cool art exhibit. You'll see some pieces that have been here since 1615 when Marcus Sidicus, the Prince Archbishop of the time, built this beautiful palace. But you also see some modern takes, and our favorite room is the ballroom. There's actually a rotating couch right in the middle of it. You can sit down, click on the iPad screen beside you, and each button will indicate the painting that's right in front of you.
We're just heading over to the final part of the Hellbrunn experience, and that is the Folklore Museum. And to get there from the palace, you get to walk through this beautiful park, which by the way is totally free. So if you didn't want to pay for any of the attractions, you can just come here and relax. We see a ton of people just walking around. Also a lot of people with dogs, because there's actually an off-leash area somewhere over there. Just a few minutes from Hellbrunn Palace, you actually have the Salzburg Zoo. This is super family oriented. We saw tons of kids just having fun looking at all the different animals, but of course this is a different paid attraction. Now our recommendation is do not pay for the individual tickets. Go and get yourself the Salzburg card. They have a 24-hour, 48, and 72 hours. This not only covers all of your public transportation, but it actually includes your tickets to pretty much every single attraction in the entire city. If there's anything to know about Salzburg, is that this is the birthplace of Mozart, which is probably one of the most famous classical composers ever. And before we go visit his birthplace and residence, we decided to come and stop for a little lunch.
We're at the cafe restaurant, which sits at the foot of the funicular to the fortress, and it's actually a really great place to enjoy some lunch. They actually have a lunch menu. Today we are gonna be heating up with some soup and some Wiener Schnitzel. But I also had to grab some mulled wine or Glühwein to really heat ourselves up. It smells delicious.
Can I try it?
Yes. Is it good?
It's interesting.
Is it sweet?
It's actually quite sweet and it's warm. It's just like we never really associate wine and heat, but it actually kind of works.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Just finished up at both the Mozart's birthplace as well as the residence. Now both of those are essentially just museums. You sort of learn about his upbringing, where he was born, sort of his family and his life and all that. Now if you're someone who absolutely loves Mozart, which is a big fan of museums and history, that's a great spot for you. For us, it's not our go-to, but because it was part of our Salzburg card, we're super glad that we still went. Now we're gonna end our day trying to find a great viewpoint of Salzburg, trying to find somewhere to overlook the city. After climbing some steep steps, we made it up to this 400-year-old monastery that overlooks Salzburg, and in particular Old Town, or Altstadt. You can also see the Alps right over there, but most important of all, you can see this fortress. Don't worry guys, there's no way we will miss this landmark, because tomorrow we dedicated an entire day to exploring the Old Town and of course the fortress. So catch you guys tomorrow. Good morning from our second day here in Salzburg. We begin our morning at the heart of the city center, and that is Residenzplatz. We just had to come out pretty early to avoid the crowds, but in return, instead of people, we got a whole bunch of trucks doing delivery.
You might even hear them in the background, hopefully not. But this is one of our favorite areas because it's such a large square, and right in the middle of it is this famous horse bath fountain. It actually used to be a former bathing area for horses back in the 16th century.
So we were walking down trying to look for a bite to eat when we noticed that the funicular up to the fortress was already open. Now in the month of October, usually it starts at 9:30, but it's only about 9 a.m. We saw the tickets were being scanned, quickly scanned our Salzburg card, and now we are up here at the fortress, beautiful views with almost nobody. So I guess we're gonna do the fortress first before we grab a cup of coffee or a bite to eat.
Salzburg fortress is actually so huge, and throughout history it's been constructed to add in more and more. So we managed to go through different pathways, get a different view, and there are actually quite a few restaurants here as well.
Yeah, some of those restaurants have the most beautiful view of the Alps. Now the fortress is actually separated into generally about 4 different sections, A, B, C, D. A is the panorama view, where you get amazing sights of the city. B is the museum, C are the staterooms, and then D is the arsenal or armory.
Now after walking around this massive fortress, we're definitely pretty hungry, especially not getting a bite to eat like we planned earlier. So we're going to be heading back down the funicular.
We took a lot longer at the fortress than expected, so it's already about 11 a.m. So we're going ahead and skip breakfast and head off for an early lunch. And we found these beautiful sandwiches right here in front of us.
It's called Paninoteca Piccolo Mondo, the sandwich shop, and it's only like $6.80 for these massive sandwiches. The cheese smell and the truffle mushrooms on mine smell so good. My mouth is salivating as we speak, so I think we're just gonna cut to the chase and dig in. We've been making our way through the Dom Cordier, which consists of 4 different museums and includes the old residence and cathedral. Pretty much was the center of the Prince Archbishop's power. Right now we're just at this panoramic terrace that connects the museum to the cathedral. And it's absolutely stunning being able to get this high vantage point of the Residenzplatz and the Kapitälplatz.
And for our final spot, we have come to the Humboldt Terrace with one of the best views over the entire city. Now, right by this area, there's actually two more museums that you can go and visit. Number one is the Museum of Natural History, as well as the Museum of Modern Art. Now, of course, both of these are included with your Salzburg card.
We really wanted to end our time here in Salzburg on the perfect note with these Mozart balls, the delicious delicacy of chocolate-covered pistachios and hazelnuts. Cheers. That almond I taste is so good.
Not bad.